the ancient Saxon village of Chiseldon in Swindon. It takes its name from the Old English Chiseldene, or gravel valley. The Church of the Holy Cross was built in the early 12th century.
Good morning, my name is Roger Powell. I'm rector of Holy Cross Church in Chiseldon, and I've been the rector here since the year 2005.
In its present location dates from the 14th century. It was originally on the west end of the building. When it fell down, they rebuilt it on the south side. It's 55 feet high, and there are 6 bells in the tower, heaviest of which weighs about 1,400 weight. Low down on the buttress on the left-hand side, there is remains of an old sundial.
This is the Draker dial, and it's called the Draker dial because it was built using the stone from the old church, which was demolished in Draycote Foliot. This happened in around the 16th century. It has 4 stained glass windows, all dating from the Victorian period, and were put in memory of local churchgoers. The altar was put in the early 1930s in memory of Reverend Wall, who was a vicar here for about 30 years. There are lots of other memorials on the wall. The large one over there relating to the Stone family who lived in Cote for many years. This is the nave. It's 5 bays long, and it dates from around about the 12th century. The westernmost bay, we think, was the site of the original tower, because the foundations of that part go down 8 feet, whereas the rest of the church is built straight off of the chalk. During the late 19th century, the walls were beginning to lean very badly, so the whole of the wall down to the top of the arches was taken down and rebuilt. The pulpit is a 17th century pulpit, and it was set up on a new stone base in 1892 when they did major repairs to the church. And behind the pulpit there is a very narrow doorway which led to a stairway leading up to the rood screen which was above the chancel arch. All that remains of that is the beam which you can see there now. The entrance from the stairway, you can see the locked up doorway to the left of the arch. So this is the westernmost bay of the nave. And you'll see that there, instead of a normal round column, there are the remains of what was a wall passing through here, which suggests that this was the base of the tower. And we think that the tower fell down very early in its life, because the ground level, the other side of the churchyard wall, is much lower. And instead of rebuilding it, they decided to build the tower round on the south side and to form the porch, the entrance to the church itself. Piece of wall here. There is the remains of a Saxon window, which was built into the wall when they took the wall out. This is the south aisle. Very narrow, as they usually were, and it's been rebuilt several times over its life. At the east end, there are 3 pieces of medieval stone built into the wall, and below it's a 16th century tombstone. The entrance door is the original entrance to the church and dates from about the 13th century, very old oak door. To the left of the door are a commandment board and a Lord's Prayer, which originally may have been up in the chancel somewhere. Here we have the memorial to the soldiers who lost their lives in the 2 world wars. And then we have the Millennium Window, which was installed in 2001 and depicts the line of Christianity in Chiseldon right from its beginnings right into the present day. Well, this is the chancel, which dates to approximately the same age as the rest of the church. It contains also the organ, which dates from around about 1860, 2 manual and now electrically operated organ. It's quite a rare example. It also contains the main altar and also a chest tomb on the left hand side. Again, lots of memorials, mostly in memory of the Corley family, who were lords of the manor at Burdrop for many years and contributed a lot to the running of this church over several centuries. The choir stalls contain panels of Spanish chestnut carvings dating from around about the 17th century.
Ridgeway View, also known to the locals as the Camp, was largely used during World War I and World War II as a camp between 1914 and 1963. During that period, it was called Chiseldon Halt, which was a small railway stop. The area housed British and American troops. When they departed, the area became residential housing and later named Ridgeway View. It was also their training and staging post in both wars. Queen Elizabeth II visited the site in 1954 to have lunch after presenting colours to the first Royal Welsh Fusiliers at Wroughton. The HGV testing station is where the camp's ambulance station once stood, but all properties from both World Wars were demolished in 1975 and now split into private lands. Chiseldon Windmill, believed to be built in 1823. By 1894, corn milling had ceased, and by the turn of the century, the mill had lost its machinery and sails. After a period as a water store, the mill remained disused until 1983, when it was dismantled and relocated and rebuilt. It now stands on Windmill Hill in Swindon. What is left at the site in Chiseldon is a millstone with a plaque adjacent to where the windmill once stood. Chiseldon Railway Station was opened in 1881 by Swindon and Marlborough and Andover Railway, later part of the Midland and South Western Junction Railway. This was closed in 1961. 2 platforms were on a curve and the line continued underneath a road bridge, now filled in. The site has been landscaped and ground level appears to have been raised. Almost no trace of the station survives. Chiseldon had 2 railways. Washpool is a well-known nature spot to the local villagers. In Washpool there is a disused railway bridge called Cuckoo Bridge. The reason it's called that is because when young residents of Chiseldon would say cuckoo, it would echo.